Big Al's Rant with Caden McFarland, powered by Jack Cassee Ford.
And welcome to the Rant, everybody, with Caden McFarland, Al Jerkins. I want Dan Bailey to invent a GPS system.
How good is that guy? He is a kicking scientist.
He said his range was 54 yards.
He said, tonight my range is 53. Maybe with the wind I can get an extra 1 or 2 yards.
Right. Well,
and that would have been good from 53, or maybe even 54.
But didn't get the extra 2.
From 55.
Now, why didn't they just snap it to where they placed it at the 50 or the?
Good idea. The extra yard.
You know,
the guy knows what he. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anyway, there you have it. Welcome.
Good
to
ball game. Low scoring, but good ball game.
Yeah, it looks a little cold in New York,
yes,
New Jersey.
A little bit. Glad we're in here.
It's a little colder across the river than it is in Manhattan.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
Days.
Yeah, the wind.
All right, Heisman Trophy. Was there any drama?
No, I guess not. I thought Deshaun Watson might have made more of a push at the end, but it ended up being Lamar Jackson in pretty much a runaway. I wasn't crazy about this. I don't know about you. The 51 total touchdowns is obviously eye-popping, but he beat only one opponent with a record above 500. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson is going to the Final Four for the second straight year, and his numbers were, I will say, comparable. To me, we get too caught up in some of the numbers, which can be system-driven, and I think with Lamar Jackson, he's a great player, but to me, this is one where we'll look back and say, you know, Deshaun Watson was a lot better college football player. Meant a lot more to the game. To me, he should be the Heisman winner.
This is why it's important, though, to get off to a quick start, because there's going to be some bias involved when you get down. There's going to be voters that vote too early.
Yes,
they get it over
that
with,
happens, absolutely.
That kind of thing. And those votes probably went to Jackson. It doesn't give a guy who's making. Now, obviously, Barry Sanders was different because he did not have any campaigns, didn't have any momentum. He just kept his mouth shut, and people fell in love with that.
Yeah.
But usually, when
he probably had the greatest Heisman season anybody ever has.
It was Jackson's to lose by midseason, right?
Pretty much. Yep.
So you had to determine what did he do in the last end of the season to take this vote away, and I thought there were some reasonable explanations that he did not have a good second half of the season.
Yeah, that's true. And, I think if Deshaun Watson hadn't been so good last year and the expectations weren't set so high, I almost wonder if he wouldn't have won the thing anyway. The expectation game. Exactly. And I look back and say Peyton Manning should have won one of those, and Andrew Luck should have won one. I think Deshaun Watson goes into that class. You're looking at our Sooners, Baker Mayfield finishing third, Dede Westbrook fourth, as we said this week. They weren't going to win. But pretty fantastic that you got two Sooners in New York City.
And we talked about this briefly on Thursday, but what a great marketing ploy on the part of OU to campaign for both players.
Yeah,
because
I should have brought in my button.
They had an outside shot to win it anyway. So why not take full advantage of the university, both guys? Now, did Billy Sims give a double boomer?
No, just a single boomer.
Just a single boomer.
If he had thought of it, he would have been happy to, I'm sure. But yeah, Billy was there and he gave the boomer, and Johnny Manziel was there. Did not expect that. Don't know what he's been up to. There you go. Line of the night right there. So the Heisman was fun. And you got to see Trey Lippy Morrison last night.
I did. I went to Miami last night to Buffalo Run and watched Trey
little scouting
Lippy
report on the fight.
How'd
he look?
13th fight.
Yeah, 13-0 now.
For him, he looked average. He took on a guy named Ty Cobb.
Hey! Oh, what a great name.
Now, Ty Cobb was his former sparring partner before he moved to L.A. to train. But he looked halfway decent. It was a decent card.
Yeah.
It was, but he's going to have a made-for-television bout coming up in February 17th. So looking forward to that. A little
better opponent.
And I think we'll have a much better opponent.
Awesome.
And Tony Holden, his manager, is a longtime friend of ours, told me, Showtime is thinking, why not? Because they don't want to be left in the cold. If Trey Morrison, with the name, becomes,
a thing,
moves up, he's going to make headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. And boxing needs that so very badly.
So Showtime's philosophy is, well, what is it going to cost us to take a chance?
Sure. Yeah.
2-3 fights. So
good. Look forward to that.
All right. Bob Stoops, you wanted to talk about Bob? And
why not? What about Bob? Regular season over. Sugar Bowl coming up.
Where does he come in the Coach of the Year department? Is that what
Well, yeah, he won Big 12 Coach of the Year, which often goes to somebody who's done more with less. But this time, with the Sooners going 9-0 after the bad start, there was kind of no denying that this guy should be the Big 12 Coach of the Year. And I'm just wondering now, I mean, it's been 18 years It's been 189 victories.
He needs to get
It's
that
been
pinky
10 Big 12 titles. Needs to get the pinky fixed, you say? No, man, that's street cred. In Youngstown, that's
true.
street cred. And now, here's what I think is the headline.
At least it wasn't the thumb, right?
That's right, yeah. You don't need your thumb broken. They've got the #3 recruiting class in the country at the moment, which is, if they finish that way, would be their best recruiting class in more than a decade.
Right.
So my thinking is, I mean, there was a time not so long ago when Trevor Knight was the starting quarterback, and they were a preseason top 3 or 4 team, and they went 8-5, that people were saying, hey, Bob's lost the fire, maybe it's time for Bob to go. And with the help of Baker Mayfield and Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon and Dede Westbrook over the last 2 years, with teams that are not national title caliber, he's been able to win 11 and now 10 and now recruit better because of it. And I'm wondering if this sets him up for kind of the perfect ending, riding off into the sunset. Is he going to win a national title in the next 5 years and ride off into the sunset? Is that possible, you think?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible. We want to introduce Zach here because
bring
he's
in
the
Zach.
man. Huh?
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing, man? Any
Good.
questions? Any
Yeah, we actually do have a question. You guys mentioned that the Sugar Bowl is coming up, so Brian wants to know, what is your pick for the Sugar Bowl?
Too
this
early
year?
to tell. No.
Too early.
We don't give you that
I
pick.
like OU easy.
Really?
Yes.
Easy?
Yes.
Because
Easy
Auburn can be
breezy.
a little bit one-dimensional, or you just think the offense is unstoppable?
I think
or?
the offense is unstoppable. I don't think Auburn has the kind of offense that scares even an below-average OU defense. That's
OU's offense is
it,
playing
5.5?
so, yeah, I believe it is. 5.5, 6, 5, you see all of those. OU's offense has been so good over the last 2.5 months that I tend to think, yeah, they're going to win this ball game. But then I think about who they faced, and I think about Big 12 defenses, and I think about the fact that Ohio State's defensive line, which is not the best in the country, and probably not even as good as Auburn's, pushed OU around. And I just wonder, I know Dede Westbrook wasn't healthy in that ball game, but I just wonder if we're overrating the Sooners offense because of who they've faced. And I wonder if Auburn doesn't give them quite the fight. Now, because Auburn can't really throw the ball, I don't expect the Tigers to pull the mild upset. But I've got some pause here. And I think Auburn maybe has a little more to play for.
But I don't think you can sit there and overrate Samaje Perine or Dede Westbrook or Baker Mayfield.
They're good.
They're good.
They were not
players.
great against Houston or Ohio State, though.
That was early in the season. It's obvious they got their act together. And you bring up the Big 12 defenses. But what was the alternative? If they would have played Ohio, let's just think about it. If OU would have played Ohio State in November and not September, would it have been a different game?
Well, probably, because Dede Westbrook is healthy now, and they tell us back then he was not.
He had a hamstring.
Right. So it's possible it would be a completely different ballgame, but Ohio State dominated so thoroughly. We don't know for sure. I guess, and the Sugar Bowl, I think maybe we'll find out. We'll get the answer to this question. I can see both sides. I'm not sure where I land on it, but I just, in the back of my mind, something's telling me they haven't played a D-line like what Auburn's got. The Sooners aren't going to roll up 40 in the Sugar Bowl.
Okay, but I think OU wins comfortably. I
think they win a close one.
I'm not sold on Auburn.
Yeah, I'd have to see more of them. I don't think they're great.
They've had their bad moments, too.
Yeah, they have. And not as many signature wins as I would have thought when I actually went back and looked at the schedule. And there's some losses in there that weren't great either.
Did Mike Gundy confess?
This is pretty interesting. So Mike Gundy Thursday night met with the media in his office, which is not decorated like you would think the office of a guy who makes $3.5 million a year would be. Like it had kind of like a cheesy little certificate from Midwest City, and so I don't want to knock. I don't want to knock on
cheesy certificate.
By the way, hey, the mullet's alive. He got it trimmed, but it was just a trim. So the mullet lives. The mullet is alive. But Garen Emig, Tulsa World, asked Mike about what everybody in Cowboy Nation is talking about. Were you too conservative at times in coaching the Bedlam game? And he gave long, detailed answers to just about everything. What we're going to play here, I think, was the most compelling of the audio. Talking about at the end of the first half, when it was tied 17-17, Barry J. Sanders had a great return to give him the ball at midfield, and they could have, just one 20-yard play and they're in field goal range, and he just handed the ball off. They didn't even really try. Here's Mike Gundy explaining why he was so conservative in that situation.
Before halftime, we had 18 seconds. We weren't really comfortable with our ability to throw the ball at that time. I didn't want to take a chance on something happening that could really change how we went into the locker room. And when you play a team as good as they are and you're on the road and you go in and you say, okay, I can wipe the first half out, I thought that was a good move for our team at that time.
Well, I'm sorry, what were you worried about them doing
Well,
at that point?
we hadn't really protected very well.
Okay.
And if 31 strips the ball from us,
Okay.
something crazy happens. And that's a valid question, but a lot of things go through my mind at that time, and we only had 18 seconds and one timeout. When I was thinking through our ability to throw the ball fairly accurate, we've been successful over the years in throwing in an 8-man drop, but it has to be placed in the right spot, and there has to be pretty good velocity to get it there. We hadn't had that luxury up to that point.
Now, kudos for Mike Gundy for explaining
Absolutely.
his reasoning.
Absolutely. And he went,
But
I mean, probably 4 minutes on his answer.
I
so.
still think he was wrong in his decision making
I-
on that. But
I agree.
Obviously, I was looking for that little certificate
Oh,
of
yeah,
merit.
it was,
Yeah, I
it
didn't
was
see
in
it.
there.
I saw some
It was in there.
drawings maybe
Midwest
from
City,
his
yeah, there's
kids
some
or
drawings.
something,
and
but-
yeah, that is nice stuff. That's charming. I shouldn't have said cheesy. Midwest City gives it
on,
a
he's a
certificate.
small-town
No,
kinda
exactly.
guy, okay?
Absolutely. It's charming. Here, right after the game, on the field, as OU was celebrating, Brian Keating, who works at KOCO in Oklahoma City, went to Oklahoma State, big Oklahoma State fan. He and I have talked in the past about how Gundy is so conservative in this Bedlam game. He's one of the OSU fans who believes in that. And he said he sees ghosts. He sees ghosts in this game. And that answer to me, where he's talking about all the things that could happen and number 31 could have sacked us, and I think he does see ghosts. I think there's something to that. I don't understand. He's got the mullet. He should have coached like, let your hair down and
There's a simple
coach
way to
like
get
a guy
rid
with
of
the
that.
mullet.
Call the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike Gundy needed to call the
Call the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd,
Absolutely.
he's looking for work, isn't he?
Now, I'll say this. Nick Saban coaches this way. He has superior teams, and that's the difference. But, very often it's not the team that makes the most plays. It's the team that avoids bad plays. I mean, Eli Manning's your quarterback, so you know this better than anybody. You lose more games than you win, is the old adage. And I have complete respect for coaching in that way and respecting the football gods, if you will, playing the percentages the way Mike Gundy does. But when you're on the road as the underdog and your O-line and D-line have had their way in the first half, I say go for it, man. What do you have to lose?
Well, it would have been different had they been on their own 20. But they were in midfield.
In midfield, sure.
And there are in this day and age of football, 18 seconds is 3 plays to get it in.
And he's
field
got him
goal.
psyched out by the worst OU defense any of us have ever seen. I mean, that's what's unbelievable.
That's
Those
the
guys
point
stink.
Yeah. All right, anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, Brian wants to know, do you think Gundy might be interested in leaving the team in the near future?
No.
Yeah,
No.
It will not happen.
you think he's just rankling Boone?
Yes.
Not looking to leave.
His family will not want to leave Stillwater.
He's done such a fantastic job there.
not
We've
happening.
ragged on him for 2 weeks now because of the Bedlam. They won 9 games. They had a fantastic year. And if they go beat Colorado, I think that'll be a 7th win over a top 10 team. He's done a fantastic job. And that Midwest City certificate, nothing wrong with that. My apologies.
You can't argue with a $3 million salary. I mean, I wouldn't argue with that.
Well, when someone offers you $6 million a year.
True.
Yes, and that's crazy money. Baylor was allegedly offering, but
All right, they've kicked it off. Second half is underway. Dallas and the New York football, softball, whatever, no score
pray for
giants.
Al here in the second half.
I know many of you are Dallas Cowboy fans. I don't want to. We're not going to get into that. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely,
All
good
right,
seeing.
we'll see you on Thursday night. Another Thursday night game.
Big Al's Rant with Caden McFarland, powered by Jack Cassee Ford.